Greetings, and today I have another Gwent deck video for you guys. So I haven't posted in a while, and that's because I'm doing a couple of stuff for the esports team that I'm working with, Team Bandit Gang, of course. So make sure you guys are keeping in touch with us, whether by joining our Discord or checking out our website, or just simply following me on Twitter or on Twitch, or on, obviously, if you guys have already watched this video and you're subscribed, then that's great. If you're not, go subscribe to this channel, and of course leave a like if you guys did enjoy this video. And yeah, so this is a deck that literally what happened with this deck was I woke up one morning and I was like, I want to try and combine create, well, in a way, assimilate and poison together. So I went ahead and created a double cross deck with Masquerade Ball. And to be perfectly honest, this deck is actually not the worst deck in the world. This deck is actually pretty decent. Like, I've taken on a lot of like syndicate matchups and I've actually been able to beat all but one queue that I got into. And that was a deck that not something you'd normally see. It's a wildcard deck, so it's not something you'd normally see. So yeah, so I don't know what to call this deck, honestly. It's funny, I got called out on stream playing this, saying, oh, it's not an honest deck. You know what? It's an honest deck, because as far as I see it, this thing ain't on it, so I'm still honest. It's still an honest deck. Bribery don't exist in this deck. Although Bribery would be a good card in here, obviously, because it has not been changed in any means. You can still get some broken-ass cards with Bribery, so, you know, by all means, put Bribery in there. For what you would replace for it, I would make a case for getting rid of a Seer, because you do, you know, get rid of that chance to play, Masquerade Ball for 2 rounds. But with Bribery, heck, Bribery packs so much power in that freaking mouth of his with that gold coin that honestly, he'll keep you alive in round 1. So, you know, I would make that's what I would change it to if I were to play Bribery. But I'm not playing Bribery because I'm an honest man. This is an honest deck. So we're gonna go with this deck list right here. So Masquerade Ball obviously is sort of the one half of the combo of this deck. The other one being assimilate and create. So Masquerade Ball, if you can get it out round 1 and round 3, that would be most ideal, obviously, for your matchups. If your opponent has a Karafi Heatwave, honestly, I've seen most Karafi Heatwaves exist mostly in monster decks. You'll see a couple in Skellige decks, but I've seen them most prominent in monsters. So that might be a decent, you know, well, not a giveaway, but anyway, I'm gonna move on before I start blabbering myself off. Next we got Vincent. Vincent has to be here, of course, because he is sort of one of our strong finishers. It's one of the reasons why I do decently well against Syndicate is because we get a lot of Frighteners that get played, you know, before the very last turn, and Vincent's just there for a 16-point card. So they pretty much lay out that Frightener, that Savolas Frightener, for us to destroy. If that's not the case, then I just lay in a poison with either the Cupbearer or if I have an extra poison laying in hand, then I'll just use it to hit something else. Sometimes with Syndicate, they'll also use Philippa to seize one of our strong units, which will trigger Spy, which is a status for Vincent to destroy. So Vincent has plenty of options here to destroy whatever he wants. Next, we got Royal Decree. Royal Decree just ensures us that we get, you know, whatever unit we need. If Masquerade Ball does get destroyed or does get banished, then I would probably use a Seer to bring back probably a Royal Decree, because it's probably the second strongest card that I would actually commit. Plus, you know, it can thin our deck out pretty well too. Next we got Morale. We gotta have Morale. Plenty of poisons to go around. Joachim and Yennefer's Invocation seems to be the combo nowadays, or at least one of like the many crazy ass combos that Nilfgaard has in its pockets. So I'm gonna include that in here as well. Not to mention he's an aristocrat, so he does activate scenario. Next is Mata. Guarantees a scenario. If we don't draw it, then we play a Seer to bring it back if we do draw it already. And then we play Mata in the 3rd round to draw us Masquerade Ball if we don't get it. If we have Masquerade Ball ourselves anyway, then we either let Mata draw what we want. Sometimes she could be a bit of a double-edged sword, so you can even brick her. 6 points is still a lot of points, even if it's just bricked. I think you'll get plenty of tempo with this, especially considering it is status and it is assimilate, so there's actually 2 things they need to worry about as opposed to just 1. Next, we got a Seer, of course. If you don't want to play Bribery, I'd play a Seer to get that double Masquerade Ball off. Still an honest deck, because there's no Bribery. I can do whatever the heck I want to a Nilfgaard deck. If I don't add Bribery, I'm considering it an honest deck. Next, we got Arturius Vigo. Kind of part of the reason why I have tactical advantage, because if we use Arturius Vigo to summon an aristocrat, so for example a Thirsty Dame if we draw into it, or even maybe an Imperial Diviner for an extra assimilate, then I would actually just use the tactical advantage to those engines and make them stronger, make them harder to destroy, and gives our opponent a hard time. Next, we got the Cupbearer. It's one of our 2 Purify, so we still have a couple of Purify options in here, which is nice. Not to mention it is Assimilate, so it works with Masquerade Ball, it works with Create, and it works with the Yennefer and Joaquin combo. Next, we got Glynis. We gotta have Glynis. She's probably our more expendable card in the combo. So next, yes, so we do have Glynis. She's more of the not the expendable, but like not as valuable as like, you know, getting our poisons off. But she's just there to provide some extra support. So if we do get Glynis off along with Masquerade Ball, then that's 6 points. 4 points. 4 points. Because it's for 2 Fangs of the Empire. Thirsty Dame doesn't trigger Assimilate, unfortunately. But it is what it is. We still have other means of creating. We still got Dazbog Runestone. We got 2 Rot Tossers, which is pretty nice. So we still got options there. Next is Roderick. Roderick is an aristocrat, which does proc the scenario. Not to mention, it is a way of getting scenario out if we can't draw it and we don't have mana. So we have plenty of ways actually of ensuring that Masquerade Ball comes out. So, you know, it's almost likely than not that Masquerade Ball will be showing up in both rounds, unless of course it gets banished. Or if your opponent plays Bomb Heaver and somehow reses it, then, you know, that's also going to be a problem. But other than that, it should be just fine. Next, we got a Dazbog Runestone. This is one of the cards where I'm thinking of changing it into, like, I thought about Imperial Diplomacy first, for creating a bronze card from your opponent's faction, but I thought Dazbog Runestone could be a way of creating yet another aristocrat if we need it. If we can get another Thirsty Dame, that would be pretty clutch. But the chances of that are pretty low, but, you know, you sometimes get the occasional one, or occasional aristocrat in general, so even like a Van Rolhem Cupbearer, or, sorry, Hunter would be really nice as well. So that's why I have Dazbog Runestone, not to mention it does work with Assimilate. Next, we got 2 Rot Tossers. These Rot Tossers work very well with both Thirsty Dame and Assimilate. You create a cow, which is Assimilate points, and it can create 3 statuses, which is, or is it, I think it's 3, because I think it gets points for being created because it has a status itself, I believe. And then 2 extra points for 2 poisons for Thirsty Dame. So this card works really well if you're rocking both Assimilate and Thirsty Dame at the same round. Next, we got Imperial Diviner. It's our another Purify. If you know that your opponent's not gonna play Purify, then, you know, just play it as an Assimilate target, Assimilate unit, and then just start creating stuff. Next, we got 2 Thirsty Dames. Of course, we need some aristocrats to support our poisons. We got 2 Tourney Jousts for removal. Although there is a case you could actually go with just 1 Tourney Joust and maybe add. I mean, the thing is, I don't know what to add. That's why I kind of just went with 2. Tourney Joust, like, you could add another Assimilate, but I think that might be a bit too extra, and I think it gets kind of slow. At least with Tourney Joust, you can actually remove engines. You can shield some of your engines from being killed, and, yeah. I got 1 Daithwan Arbalest, because we gotta get rid of those ships. We gotta get rid of those Crow Mothers. You gotta get rid of those Egerns. We gotta weaken our opponent's units that work with the graveyard. So that's what our Daithwan Arbalest is there for. We got 2 Fangs of the Empire for 2 poisons, and we got 2 Van Rolhem Hunters for more aristocrats. So, this particular deck was really fun to play with. I enjoyed it, even though it's Nilfgaard. It's something that I don't typically enjoy. But it's still an honest deck. I'm gonna keep pointing that out. The games I recorded have copyrighted music, so I'll be doing sort of post-commentary. So I'll be talking you guys through the game, as usual. And, yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like. And comment on any changes you guys would like to make. And of course, subscribe for more Gwent content. And other than that, let me send you guys over to the gameplay. Okay, so the first match I'll be showing to you guys will be against Syndicate matchup. This is Hidden Cache. I believe this is the Passiflora less version of Hidden Cache. Just because everyone seems to prepare for Hidden Cache Passiflora already with a bunch of Bomb Heavers. So the usual strategy for me going into this was definitely making sure that I got Masquerade Ball off first. I did end up going first, so I did end up losing the coin, which is kind of unfortunate, but I think it'll be alright. The good thing is we can actually counter a lot of his engines with a bunch of poison units and a bunch of lock. So we do have a lot of ways of dealing with his units, which is pretty good for us. So I just went ahead here, played Arturius first to set up Thirsty Dame, knowing that I was going to play Masquerade Ball at some point this round. So that was sort of the idea behind that. I believe the usual starting point. Okay, so it's like the Street Urchins and then Hidden Cache, you get the ship out, but he does opt to start with the poison because Thirsty Dame is going to be a big threat to him, especially with all the statuses that I will be putting up at him. But I did have an Imperial Diviner ready to go and Purify. I feel like seeing that kind of play might have actually, like, gave him the idea that he was going to pass at 7, because I believe this match he did end up passing at 7. He does try to go for that Kikimori Warrior into the boat strategy to create more Kikimori Warriors while the boat was destroyed. Honestly, not a bad play. I see most hidden cache decks that don't run the scenario do this nowadays. It makes sense. They need some sort of backup, I guess. But I think I just go ahead and just go Mata into the Masquerade Ball. Just because there's really nothing I could do about that. I could lock Hikikomori Warrior. But seeing as I don't have a lot of aristocrats in my hand, I kind of have to keep them both for Masquerade Ball, knowing that I was going to go into this round playing Masquerade Ball. So he does go ahead, create that Hikikomori Warrior. So the boat will be coming back at the end of the turn, I believe. So I cannot play my Arbalist next turn. Never mind, I'm kidding. I don't even have an Arbalist anyway. So he does go ahead, tries to poison the Thirsty Dame. I believe I just let him play it here. Like, I let him play his poison. And I think that's a pretty decent idea to kind of let him go ahead with that. Because A, I didn't want to use my Cupbearer for Purify. And B, that's one less poison for him to deal with my engines. Because I will be planning on playing my Thirsty Dames again in the third round, of course. So he does Vivaldi Bank that Bomb Heaver. I don't know. I guess it's because he saw me that running Double Cross that maybe he wasn't expecting a Seer. Because he might expect to, like, you know, assimilate with Bribery. That might be what he was expecting. But I obviously run assimilate here. So he never ended up playing the poison. I streamed this yesterday. I'm recording this today, Wednesday, and then tomorrow, Thursday, it'll get uploaded onto YouTube. So yeah, never mind. He never got to finish the poison. So, but he does so now. I guess he wanted to prioritize getting rid of the Masquerade Ball first. I was still ahead. So I could have passed, but, you know, because I was ahead, I had to keep going. I do end up playing a Seer, so I guess he doesn't pass on 7. He tries to push me here. But yeah, I believe I actually choose to play a Seer here and bring back Masquerade Ball. Just because I feel like if I can do that in turn 1 instead of, round 1 instead of round 2 or even round 3, then I can actually, you know, get straight ahead with just running Masquerade Ball instead of wasting a turn to bring it back with a Seer. You know, to give my opponent a turn or two to either set up their engines and stuff. So he does go ahead with Street Urchins, get those coinage. At this point, I think I decided to pass here because I feel like I didn't want to play any of my other cards. Like, Yennefer's Invocation has nothing of value here. So, he does opt to play Sea Jackal. He does have to use up some coins though, so that's good for us. That's less coins for him to carry over for round 2. And even less going to round 3. So... because he knows that I am running sort of a statusy / assimilate kind of deck, I feel like bleeding wouldn't be in his best interest just because he knows that I can actually deal with his engines. So I think he actually dry passes here. Me drawing the Arbalist was really good because getting rid of that ship was really nice. I did get my Masquerade Ball, so I don't need to, you know, worry about getting it with Roderick, so I can actually play Masquerade Ball right away and I can just start, you know, bringing in an aristocrat. So our opponent here does opt to dry pass, I believe. I'm pretty sure. Oh no, he doesn't. He actually plays Imka. So I believe this is actually what I choose to Yennefer's Invo. I actually choose to Yennefer's Invo this Imka because if I really think about it, like the other cards that he would be playing, like the other engines, I can actually deal with them myself with like through poisons and even lock and stuff. So you know, I was okay. I'm pretty sure I was okay here with running the invocation on Imka. The bad news is his ship came, so I actually couldn't Arbalist the ship at this time. Yeah, so this is the point where I was actually debating if he was going to try and push me even further. So I just go ahead and play the Cupbearer on it. Whether that was the best option or not, I don't know. But like, if you see all the other cards I have in my hand, I didn't want to play any of them. Not to mention he was assimilate, so if my opponent was going to continue pushing, then I would have Masquerade Ball sort of there. So he does have a Adalbertus. He does opt to purify that Imka. So I guess I choose not to invo the Imka until a little bit later. So at this point, I had a feeling that he was going to try and do a bit of a push, so I actually decided to Masquerade Ball here. And I believe this is where he actually passes, is when he actually gets my Masquerade Ball out. So in a sense, that was actually really good for him to do that. Yeah, because this was actually really bad for me, so I had to do something. I think this is actually where I opted to invo that Imka, which is something I should have actually done before, but, you know, I wasn't thinking of it then. Actually, I was thinking of it then, but, like, you know, I decided to go with the poison because I didn't know if he was going to continue pushing or not. So I feel like if I had the thought of invocating that Imka from the beginning, I should have just went ahead and gone for it instead of like thought a little bit longer and ended up wasting my Masquerade Ball for no reason. So, but that's the hard part, right? Because like, what else am I going to invocation? Like, I could invo the Sol, but Sol does me nothing. At least with Imka, I can get some coinage, and then I can use Double Cross to create, let's say, like another card that can, another money spender. In which case, I can use Imka's coin generation to, you know, add to my power. So I do get Imka, and obviously Imka's the first card to come out. I got my Tourney Joust and my Van Morlem Hunter, but without Masquerade Ball, things are going to be just a little bit tougher. Not too bad. So my hand was actually not the best here. I actually missed out on pretty good cards. Like, I missed out on Joachim, I missed out on Roderick, I missed out on Glynis. But Glynis at this point wasn't going to do anything for me. Actually, no, Glynis still would have done some value because I got 2 Raw Tossers. So, but I do have to start this round by playing the Arbalist on that ship. So, at least getting the ship out of the way is 3 less coins for him. I still have Moral and Vincent. Like, they're pretty much the cards that are sort of going to carry me in this matchup. So, you know, it's not all lost. I also have a Thirsty Dame as well. So, Thirsty Dame will be good for some generating coinage if he does stay alive. But at this point, Thirsty Dame, I don't really have a safety net anymore because Thirsty Dame is really the only engine I have left in my hand. So I just opt to play it right away. And this is where I was fearing sort of the possibility of that Uwald. If he has Uwald, I do counter with the Van Morlem Hunter. If he doesn't have Uwald, then, you know, my Thirsty Dame is sort of kept alive. But if he has a card like Morios, then I'm gonna have issues. Or even Philippa. So that's just the thing, right? Syndicate has just so many weapons for, you know, taking out my engines as well. Same as I do against his engines, right? So, but he does decide actually to go ahead and play the Street Urchins. I feel like if I had Philippa, I would have played it, but I don't quite remember if he had Philippa here. So, but I guess we'll see. We'll see. Or maybe he's waiting until I get stronger with my Thirsty Dame before he gets his Philippa off. So this is where I don't know whether to play the Raw Tosser or my Van Morlem Hunter, because the Raw Tosser doesn't really get me much value. Like, he gets me 1 less point with that poison. I feel like I actually decide to Moral here instead. So I just actually go ahead and just Moral that Passiflora Peaches. That is 1 extra point for my Thirsty Dame, which is pretty nice. Yeah, this is where I was sort of hovering over Imka, because now I'm starting to think of getting cards like Savola or Philippa. Oh, not Philippa. Yeah, probably Philippa if he hasn't played it. Morios, even Tin Boy. But, you know, because he's not really swarming his deck, I feel like Tin Boy wouldn't be as much value. And I don't want to pay 8 coins just to hit another card in the other row, so it doesn't really make any sense for me at that point. So that's where I thought I actually should have played Imka next, but I was still fearing the possibility of him stealing it back with Philippa, so I didn't really want to give him back his money generating. He knows I have it in my hand because it has his card back on it, so he does. Interestingly, he's using up a lot of his coins here. Oh, that's why. He has Bloody Good Fun, destroys Morale, which is pretty nice. So at this point, I was kind of starting to think he didn't have Philippa, so I actually just go ahead and play my Imka here. So I'm actually, like, this is on the basis that he doesn't have Philippa. He also played his Vivaldi Bank, so if he does have Philippa in the deck, there's no way he can get it out now. If he has Royal Decree, then he's got me, but they don't usually run Royal Decree, so I wasn't expecting it. So at this point, I was still kind of unsure because he did get Last Say, and he's yet to use his leader ability, which is interesting, but I've also yet to use my leader ability, which also the good thing about having Double Cross as well is that you can actually sort of see the future in a sense, because you can actually see what your opponent has in hand and, you know, what they're going to do. So he does have his Morale, which he opts to bring out now. Poisons that Thirsty Dame. I think I actually decided to lock this with my Van Morlem Hunter. And yeah, so I actually thought about playing Double Cross now just to see what he had, but, you know, having 1 unknown, especially if it's the only card that they haven't played yet, kind of scares me a little bit. So I'm gonna make sure I play Double Cross, like, at least for this particular matchup, in a point where I know what their cards are gonna be, so I can sort of grasp what order they are gonna play those cards in. So it doesn't matter Louisa, so that tells me he has Savola in hand, which I can't use because I don't have enough coinage for it. But I still have 2 Raw Tossers, which is 3 extra points for Thirsty Dame and Vincent to finish off something. Worst case scenario, I finish off that Moral or finish off that Passiflora Peaches, but... So I'm going to Raw Tosser here, and I will put that cow in between Peaches and Louisa. I thought about putting it in the back row, actually, but nah. Like, Peaches is there with a poison. So I need to see what cards he has in his hand. When I saw that he had the Professor, I was like, oh, I think I have a chance at winning this, because I saw the Professor. And then he has a Vola and a Sea Jackal. I couldn't use Sea Jackal. Sorry, I couldn't use a Vola because I didn't have enough coinage. Professor, I mean, 9 damage is good, but I think because I'm generating coinage, I think the Sea Jackal here actually was the best option for me. So this is kind of crazy where the bronze card actually ends up being the best option for me and the one that actually helps me win the game. So, well, that's a bit of a spoiler alert, but, you know, you kind of already saw that coming. But yeah, so between the coins being generated by Inca and the Horde plus the fee that I can use to pay Jackal, and I know that he doesn't have anything to destroy Jackal because his Professor can only do 3 damage. So Sea Jackal is out of the range of the Professor, which is really nice. And with me locking his morale and knowing he doesn't have another poison is actually really good to me as well. So at this point, I was kind of thinking like he either plays, like he probably plays, like at that point I'm like he can play that in any order. But if the moment he plays that Frightener, then Vincent kills it. But if he plays the Frightener last turn, then he actually has a chance of beating me because that's a lot of points that I can't answer, right? So he does play the Sea Jackal first. But unfortunately, the only coins he has now to get are the 3 from the hidden cache. So, and he actually lets me take out his Passiflora. So that might have been a bit of a misplay there that actually did cost him the game because that is a lot of points. Like, I would have put the Sea Jackal, like, beside the Passiflora Peaches because you know that you're not getting any more points with Sea Jackal because you have a Street Urchins as well as a backup money spender. So I would have put it right beside Passiflora Peaches, but I don't know if he made that misplay or forgot about it. But I don't know. This is the interesting part where he actually plays Savola second to last. I think he had to here because if he played the Professor before Savola, then he actually wouldn't have enough coins. So this is the perfect target for the Frightener there. So that was actually really nice. So I knew what his last card was gonna be, and I just decided to use up all the coinage. There was no way he's gonna win. And yeah, that's game 1. Okay, so this second matchup will be taking on a uprising deck. So this one is going to be a little bit more interesting because uprising likes to go wide. So, you know, poison's not necessarily good against that. They're really known for being really strong tall punishers, but you know, so essentially that would mean that our strongest poison status target would be that Lyrian Scytheman because that is where their tall units are coming from. Everything else just needs to be widely spread boosted just so that they can get the benefits off with their Scytheman. So this was an interesting matchup. So I do end up going first. This hand was kind of, I mean, it was alright. I mean, my usual first turn cards weren't here. Like Artorias Vigo is usually a good first turn card I like to go with. But I actually decided to just play Imperial Diviner because I know he doesn't have any statuses. So I was not going to have any use for Imperial Diviner other than being an Assimilate. So yeah. Again, I still have the intention of playing Masquerade Ball round 1 here, so that's what I go ahead and do. Not to mention, I do have an Assimilate card, which will trigger, once I create those 2 Fangs of the Empires. So I didn't play Tactical Advantage there, because I usually like to use it on, Artorias Vigo's target. So he does show his Bomb Heaver, so he does have it. But the good news is, we do play Masquerade Ball, in round 3 as well, so we still have that opportunity. So here I suddenly didn't know what to do. I was kind of debating between killing that Radovid's Royal Guard because that could still be valuable, but I also started thinking about, you know, just trying to get Masquerade Ball back into the deck so that I can drive for rounds 2 and 3. So we'll see what happens here. I don't quite remember, like I said, so yeah, I did I? Come on, buddy. Yeah, make a decision here. So I actually just opted to play Artorias Vigo because I did need a tactical advantage target. I was thinking of going Raw Tosser or Thirsty Dame. I actually did decide to opt for the Raw Tosser because I already had a Thirsty Dame. And it procced both Assimilate and it procced the Thirsty Dame. So, yeah, I thought that was just better. If I went with another Thirsty Dame, it would have been a bit on the greedier side. But, you know, this generated enough points where I can stay pretty well ahead. So, Not the best poison targets, but you know what? Poison targets are poison targets, and value is pretty good still. Because we're gonna get 2 extra points from the cow going off. He does opt to play Boiling Oil, which does destroy a Thirsty Dame, which kind of sucks. But it is what it is. We still have poison to work with, so that is pretty nice. At this point, I did just decide to Thorny Joust because I'm like, okay, no more Thirsty Dame, and I don't really have a poison. I don't really have another poison in me, so I just went ahead and killed it. I feel like with the way he's been playing, I think he's passing at 7 because that's what Uprising usually likes to do. Is they like to go as long of a round as possible. So I think he passes. If not, he plays to 1 or 2 more cards, then passes. But I'm almost certain he passed here on 7. Yeah. Passing on 7 is like something that Northern Realms usually does. Because the thing with the way Uprising works is the longer the round, the better you get, the better you are because you have more units to boost around, right? So it makes sense. So I didn't know whether or not actually to try and beat him in 2-0 because I know he doesn't have Bomb Heaver anymore, and unless he has a Necromancy and brings it back to destroy my Masquerade Ball again, I feel like I was fine. But I feel like I actually kind of decided to go a long round 3, which is I would say a stupid thing to do against Uprising, but I did it, and yeah, I guess you're gonna see how it goes out. So I do decide to play Asir, and I believe I actually choose to play Mata right after. That way in round 3, I can actually just start going ahead and going straight for that Masquerade Ball status shenanigans. No bribery, so in my eyes, this is an honest deck. So I play Mata as well with Asir, so we do get our Masquerade Ball, which we can actually start playing around with again. So I believe he plays a second Erdenian Mauler because I did give him a 4 provision card. No, he plays Citrine Enchantress instead. So never mind. Never mind, I take back what I said. So this is where I actually opt to pass. This is actually, no, I was thinking here to actually maybe go ahead with the Masquerade Ball play, but I feel like, you know, I'm still missing a couple of decent cards, like Joaquin DeWitt would have been really good to have here. Or even Roderick, really. Even though I already have Aristocrats, I feel like, you know, having that extra firepower would be nice. Plus, if he had, like, all of his weapons, like if he had Falibort, if he had Bloody Baron, if he had everything, then... So he decides to play both Citrine Enchantress and Erdenian Mauler. That tells me that he's probably missing a couple cards himself, so if I had pushed him, maybe that would have been a decent play to do because he had 4 provision cards in his hand, so that was really bad for him. So that was actually really bad for him. So I did draw 2 more Aristocrats. I wanted one of the golds, obviously, because, you know, golds are golds. Like, come on, like, look at that. I can't believe I missed that. So I actually went in here, yeah, my hand wasn't, okay, so it was nearly optimized. I did have Joaquin. I didn't have Moral, though. So the thing is, was I going to try and top deck Moral with Joaquin? I didn't believe in my luck that much, so I don't think I did. So he does play Queen Adalia. He does start to swarm us here, so this is where, like... Because the problem with poison is poisoning 3 power units really isn't all too valuable, you know? So, yeah, that was kind of tough on me there. We do start off with our Glynis. Glynis will start getting us those points with Create and with Masquerade Ball, so... You know, we're still getting some passive income ourselves, which is pretty nice. Yeah, he does opt to play a base copy of Caravan Vanguard now. So, at least I found a decent poison target, which is at 6, but, like, you know, the thing with Uprising is they don't really go tall unless they play their Lear and Scythemans, in which case, then they'd be my poison target, but, you know, all of his other power produced from, like, his Kaedweni Revenants and his Draugs and stuff. He has Prince Ansace. I believe Prince Ansace is used to kill Thirsty Dame here instead of Glynis. Yeah, because Thirsty Dame really gets me more value in the long round, so... Assimilie is really a secondary kind of thing. Like, he kind of noticed there that I was sort of prioritizing my statuses, so... Thanks to the Empire, going ahead, getting that poison off on the highest unit that they can possibly target. He does have Anna, so I believe this is actually what I choose to lock. And then I just choose to finish off the poison to the, And this deck, and Uprising doesn't usually run Kudak, so, you know, I don't think I was going to be worried about a possibility of a Purify. He is starting to get boosted units up on the board, though, so that's something I do have to start watching out for as well, so... So what do you do here, buddy? What do you do here? Because like I said, I don't quite remember everything. I was also starting to think about what my Yennefer target was gonna be. And if he had Falibor, I think that would have been my best option because he does have a bunch of low units, which is actually perfect for Falibor. So if I could Yennefer it, I could combo it with Joachim, and that would sort of, you know, bring out what I could possibly use against them. I could have used Onsace, honestly, with Joachim. That would have also been really nice because that ability to duel also is a lot of points that I can remove from my opponent. But he does opt to go ahead and Falibor here. He's not going to be able to destroy anything. But I guess he kind of already knew that he wasn't going to be able to destroy anything just because he knows that Nilfgaard units don't usually have 3 power or less. So I get ahead and I just opt to play this cow. At this time, I wasn't actually thinking about playing the invocation on that Falibor. I was actually thinking about a more valuable unit. Like, but at the same time, I'm also thinking, like, what other valuable units could he have? Like, if he had a Draug, would I really want to play that on my side of the field? I know I have humans, but like, I'm status. I don't try to damage or ping. So, and I do double cross to see what kind of other cards he has. And I saw that Visigurd. I also saw, oh, I can't remember. I saw Lyrian Scytheman, and I believe I saw Voimir. So that tells me that Draug is indeed in his hand. I was gonna wait another turn, but I feel like if he plays his Visigurd out now and destroys my Visigurd, then I lose out on that damage. So I'd rather just get this out of the way real quick. So I went ahead and just Visigurd for all the points I can get, which isn't a lot. It's only 3 charges, but I'll take what I can get. Lyrian Scytheman was only gonna be 5 points, and Voimir was gonna be I believe 7 points, because I think I have 2 copies of Fangs of the Empire, plus he has 5 power base. Visigurd was 8, so he was the most. So it is what it is. So he does opt to Voimir. I'm surprised he Voimirs before he plays Draug. So this is what I found interesting here, was he did this first. He does opt to protect that Falibor, so I go ahead and finish the poison off and kill Voimir. I guess I could have killed Anna, because I would have appeared, like, if he did have Kud Kudak, that would have been a great Kud Kudak target. But I feel like he would have already Kud Kudak if he has it, so. At the end of the day, I didn't think it mattered, but, you know, if he tried to wait that Kud Kudak off until he put a poison on something else, then I guess, but. I was relatively confident that he didn't have a Kud Kudak, because they don't usually run it, so. So he does boost that Falibor up. At this point, I feel like I gotta get Yennefer's invocation off, so I think I have to use it on that Falibor. Like I said, that Onsace would have been a really good thing because, you know, Joachim being able to bring out Onsace with 8 extra power and you're able to fight something. This one surprised me. He actually plays his Lyrian Scytheman before he played all of his Uprising. I found that kind of interesting. I feel like he could have gotten much more value off if he actually played the Uprising before he played that Scytheman, because he could have gotten another Scytheman and he could have gotten, I think, at least 2-3 extra points. So now he actually shows his hand here, like shows his true card and plays Draug here. Gets all those revenants. It's actually a good thing he didn't get that armor, so that was actually really nice. At this point I had 1 poison left, 1 status destroyer, and Falibor pretty much. So I was kind of left in a bind here. I just went ahead and poisoned that 7 power Kaedweni Revenant. And I think I have to end up destroying it. So I believe Falibor might have been my very last play here, because, you know, I know his last card is Baron as well, so. Actually, no. This is where I possibly made a mistake that could have costed me more points. He already had good Bloody Baron targets with the Thirsty Dame and with a Seer. So I figured, like, if I did end up playing Falibor for 8 extra points, like his reset on the Thirsty Dame would be 8 points. His reset on the Glynis would also be 8 points. So I feel like it didn't matter there. At this point, I mean, he was ahead by quite a bit. He still has a lot of charges, so, you know, he still has that opportunity to win here. So I think I had to play Falibor first because I had to deny him that extra couple points. I already knew that Bloody Baron was going to get a good target regardless of whether I played Joachim first or whether I played Vincent first. So I actually go ahead and play Joachim into the Falibor. So I do decide to kill at least one Kaedweni Revenant. That's 1 less potential damage that he could have had. And at this point, I didn't really care who else I damage. But yeah, because he already played his Uprising units, so. And then I believe his last card here was indeed the Bloody Baron. Which again, you kind of have to assume that your opponent's going to get sort of the perfect hand. And yeah. So that's the Bloody Baron. Probably resets that Thirsty Dame. Yep, because that got him. That gets him more value because it was 9. He can get rid of Thirsty if he wants. My last card is Vincent. And here his last 3 points. He can't destroy anything else because all my units are just too high in power against them. So, like, if he was able to destroy one more unit, he would have definitely won because Vincent wouldn't have been enough. Because that's the thing with Uprising, right? It's like they don't really have a lot of tall units. I guess, oh, that makes sense as to why he played that Lyrian Scytheman that low. It's because he knows I can poison it. So, no, that was actually a good idea on his part. But yeah, I think the fact that he didn't have an extra unit to kill me was actually pretty valuable because this was going to be a 12-point card and he had 11 points ahead, so I won by 1 point. This was a really close match and that's why I wanted to show this. So yeah, that's going to be the end of sort of the gameplay. If you guys made it this far, thanks for watching. Leave a like if you guys did enjoy this video, and I know it's been a while since I've uploaded, but yeah, so upload schedule should be back to normal now. Saturday I will have another deck video for you guys. I think I'm gonna go back to do more Mimi strategies because I'm hopefully gonna reach pro rank by then. So, and of course follow me on Twitch and Twitter so you guys can come watch me stream and watch me play a bunch of crazy decks. And yeah, other than that, this is Enzo signing out, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.